Many believed Jon Snow would be the one to face the Night King. He had fought the dead, he had the blood of both Stark and Targaryen, and he had always been at the center of great battles. But in the end, it was Arya Stark who killed the Night King, changing everything in a single strike. Some found it surprising, others confusing, but if we look closer, Arya's journey makes sense. Her path, her training, and her spirit all led to that one moment. She was chosen for a reason, and not Jon. Arya's story was never about ruling or leading. From the very beginning, she was different from the other children of her family. She did not want to sit and sew like her sister Sansa, nor did she want to follow the life expected of noble girls. She wanted freedom, she wanted to move like a fighter, and she had a fire inside her that pushed her beyond limits. That restless spirit was the first sign of what she was meant to do. While Jon was burdened with duty, honor, and heavy choices, Arya was lighter, faster, and unpredictable. She was not bound by rules in the same way Jon was. And that is exactly what was needed to defeat the Night King. The Night King was not a man who could be beaten in a fair fight. He was not going to duel Jon Snow with swords like a regular enemy. He was death itself, calm, patient, and almost untouchable. Jon was brave and strong, but his path was clear and direct. He faced things head-on, always with honor. That kind of path made him easy to predict. Arya was the opposite. She learned to move silently, to strike when no one saw her coming. She could blend in the shadows and wait for the right moment. That is why she was the one who could surprise even the Night King. Her training made her the perfect weapon. From Syrio Farrell in King's Landing, she learned speed and focus. From the Hound, she learned toughness and survival. From the Faceless Men, she gained skills that were rare and strange. She became someone who could vanish, who could walk unseen, who could change herself into anyone. No one else in her world had that mix of skills. She was made for an impossible task. Killing the Night King was not about strength. It was about timing, silence, and striking when no one expected. Arya had practiced for this her entire life without even knowing it. Jon Snow's role was different. He was the shield, the leader who gave people hope. He was the one who rallied armies, spoke of what was right, and stood in front to face the storm. He fought the Night King's army many times. But his duty was not to land the final blow. His path was about sacrifice and honor. He had already given his life once and returned. He had already carried the weight of uniting the living against the dead. His story was about carrying that burden, not about delivering the killing strike. Arya's story was the opposite. It was about becoming the hand in the dark, the one who strikes when no one else can. Think about the moment itself. The Night King was walking slowly toward Bran. All around him, his army was winning. Jon Snow was trapped, pinned down by Viserion, the undead dragon. He could not move forward. Even if he wanted to, he was stuck. That was part of it. Jon's place was to hold the attention of death, to stand in its face and refuse to back away. But the true killer was slipping through the shadows. Arya came flying out of nowhere, quick and silent, past all the soldiers of the dead. That surprise was the only way to kill the Night King. It was not a battle, it was a strike of fate. Arya had always been tied to death. From her list of names to her years training with the Faceless Men, she lived with the idea of taking life. She even carried the words, "What do we say to the god of death? Not today." That line followed her from childhood to the very night she killed the Night King. It was not just a skill, it was a belief. Death was her shadow, and she learned not to fear it. When the moment came, she was calm enough to face the very figure of death in the world. Jon had faced death too, but Arya had embraced it in her heart and carried it with her. Also, Arya had one great gift: she was underestimated. Her small size, her quiet nature, even her youth made people look past her. The Night King never saw her as the threat. He walked toward Bran with calmness, believing no one could stop him. Arya's entire life had prepared her to use that underestimation as a weapon. She was not the chosen one in the way people thought of Jon Snow. She was not the hero sung about in prophecy. And that is why it worked. The Night King fell to the person no one expected, just as Arya had always been the girl no one thought could stand against kings and killers. Arya's act was not just about ending the Night King, it was about completing her journey. She started as a little girl who wanted to learn how to fight. She went through pain, loss, and darkness. She lost her father, her family, her home. She wandered across lands filled with war and blood. She shaped herself into something beyond ordinary. Every lesson, every scar, every night alone brought her closer to that one leap at the Night King. It was not an accident. It was the reason she survived when so many did not. She was chosen not by prophecy, but by life itself. Jon Snow killing the Night King would have been expected. It would have been a straight line, a simple ending. But Game of Thrones was never about simple endings. It was always about surprise, about the unexpected turn. Arya's strike carried that spirit. It shocked the world, yet when you look back, it was right there all along. She had the training, the courage, and the heart for it. Jon was the sword people followed, but Arya was the dagger no one saw until it was too late. In the end, Arya was not chosen because she was stronger or more important. She was chosen because she was the only one who could do it. The Night King was beyond swords and honor. He needed to be defeated by someone who lived in shadows, someone who could say, "Not today," to death itself. That was Arya Stark. She carried her father's courage, her mother's will, her brother's strength, but most of all her own fire. She was the blade in the dark, the hand of fate, and the one who ended the longest night. And that is why it was Arya, not Jon, who killed the Night King. And that brings us to the end of this deep look at why Arya, and not Jon Snow, was the one to kill the Night King. Her journey, her skills, and her spirit all led to that single moment. But what do you think? Was Arya always meant to do it, or should it have been Jon after all? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.